so bright. Grace Point. Grace Point. Glad you were here. Welcome. How's everybody feeling today? We're good. Y'all are on the back. Look at all this space up here. Y'all want to stand up with us? We're going to sing some songs together. Yay! Sing together. Love's gonna live here. Love's gonna live here. Love's gonna live here. Love's gonna live here again. No more loneliness, only happiness. Love's gonna live here again. Oh, the sun's gonna shine in my heart once more. Love's gonna live here again. Things are gonna be the way they were before. Love's gonna live here again. Let's sing together. Love's gonna live here. Love's gonna live here. Love's gonna happiness. Love's gonna live here again. I hear bees are ringing, I hear birds are singing. Love's gonna live here again. I see bells are humming, and I know the days are coming that love's gonna live here again. That's right. Love's gonna live here. Love's gonna live here, yeah. Love's gonna live here again. And there'll be no more loneliness, only happiness, yeah. Love's gonna live here again. Play him something, Travis. That's good. Come on, let's sing it one more time. Love's gonna live here. Love's gonna live here. Love's gonna live here. Love's gonna live here again. And there'll be no more loneliness, only happiness. Love's gonna live here again. Oh yeah, love's gonna live here again. So good. Again, we're so glad that you are with us here at Grace Point today. Last week, I was able to teach y'all a new song, a song called Lean This Way With Your Heart. And we're going to sing it again this week. Hopefully, you guys remember it. If you haven't been here, you'll catch on real quick. It's a great song. Lean this way with your heart. Lean this way with your heart. Just lean this way with your heart. Oh, lean this way with your heart. Oh, may our spirits abide. May our spirits abide, even in the darkest night. Oh, may our spirits abide. Yes, may our spirits abide. Sisters, brothers, and friends. Sisters, brothers, and friends. There is nothing love can't mend. My sisters, brothers, and friends. Oh, my sisters, brothers, and friends. So lean this way with your heart. Lean this way with your heart. We will never be apart. Just lean this way with your heart. Oh, lean this way with your heart. Yes, lean this way with your heart. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. Thank you so much. We love that you are here. What we'd love for you to do now is make some friends. We want you to go across the room. Some people are excited. Some people are like, oh my gosh, really? But we'll be back in a couple of minutes. We love you.
Hello, good morning. I stayed up too late. My name is Emily. Hello. And I'm the Director of Operations here. Can we give our online community a little wave? Thank you. I just have a couple of announcements. First, if you scan this QR code up here, you will want to fill out the connection card if you're new. That is where you can sign up for your newsletter and get plugged in. Newsletter goes out every Friday. First of all, Salt and Pepper, which is our social for 50s-ish or whoever, meets today between services at the loading dock. So right after this is over, they're going to gather up there. We need filled Easter eggs, filled with candy, no peanuts, please, for our Easter egg hunt, which is going to be at the end of this month. Tiffany is going to send out info on the Easter egg hunt, and so if you feel so inclined, we will be taking donations until then. GP Students Escape Room is today. That is our youth, which is 6th through 12th grade. If your youth has not registered yet and plans on attending, please talk to Tiffany ASAP and they will get you signed up. And I believe that's it. Grace Point's goal is to create a safe, affirming, and transformative community. To those of you who already give, thank you so much. If you would like to support Grace Point, here's how you can do it. You can text any dollar amount to 84321, go to gracepoint.net/give, scan the QR code, or just Venmo us. And just remember, it's Grace Point with an E on the end. Thanks.
Thank you, Emily. I want to take a second to see if y'all will join me in sending our lead pastor, Josh, some loving, healing vibes and thoughts today. He is out. He's been going through some health stuff, but we want to send him all the love that we can. But we do have our dear Murphy. He's going to be speaking for us today, so we are glad about that. I'll invite y'all to stand back up with us, and let's join together and sing. You're not the God I was taught to fear. You're not a God who condemns. No longer afraid, my shame has disappeared. I have no need to pretend, 'cause you're a God who loves. You're a God who cares. You understand, and you've always been there for me. Oh God, you are so good. You're good to me. Your faithfulness is all I will ever need. In all of my days, I've tasted and seen. Forever I will say, you are good to me. Oh yes, you are good to me. And once I let go what I thought was true, I started learning to see. I had to give up on what I thought I knew. And that's when my soul was set free. 'Cause you're a God who loves. You're a God who cares. You understand, and you've always been there for me. So we sing, God, you are so good. You're good to me. Your faithfulness is all I will ever need. And all of my days, I've tasted tasted and seen. Forever I will say, you are good to me. Yes, you are. You are good to me. Oh, yes. Good to me. God, you are so good to me. Good to me. God, you are so good to me. That's beautiful. Let's all sing it together. Good to me. Oh, good to me. God, you are so good. Yes, you are good to me. One more time. Good to me. Good to me. Oh, God, you are so good to me. Oh, God, you are so good. You're good to me. Your faithfulness is all I will ever need. And all of my days I've tasted and seen. Forever I will say, you are good to me. Oh, I will sing, you are good to me. You are good to me. Amen. Amen. Thank you so much. You can be seated.
Is there a video? There it is.
Please, help. Help, please. Please.
No change, I'm sorry.
No. Please.
I'm not sure. I'm sorry.
Oh my gosh.
Excuse me.
I'm so sorry. I didn't mean to.
Thank you, sweetheart.
Good luck on your first day, Mama.
Thank you, boys. Help your brothers get ready for school, eh? I'll be late. I must go now. Thank you. Bye.
What? He told me he was gonna unlock the food bank at 7. Just make sure the volunteers know what's going on, okay? Okay, I'll call you back.
Jason, what's going on, son? What about our meds? Okay, tell Mom that I'll be there and I'll try to get back for my 1 o'clock.
Guys, come on. Get the wallet.
I'm not sure.
Okay,
I'm
listen,
sorry.
oh my gosh. I'm so sorry. I didn't mean to. Yeah. Yeah, I'm almost there.
It's okay. It's okay. Come. I know a place.
It'll probably be about a 20-minute wait.
Okay, thank you. Thank you so much. I'll call later to make sure he's okay. What's your number here?
Oh, okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I must go now. Good job.
Thank you. No.
No, please.
Okay.
Please. Please.
Thank you. Thank you.
Come in.
Good morning, sir.
Oh, there you are. I was wondering what happened to you.
My apologies, sir.
Well, I'm glad you made it in. Let me call down to the floor and see where they need you.
Thank you. Thank you so much, sir. Thank you.
Hey, John, it's Matt. The new gal's here. Do you want her in receiving or down the production line?
One of my favorite stories in the Bible. Most of you probably heard of it, called the Good Samaritan, but maybe not. Lots of times the focus is really more on the whole idea of being a good neighbor. Here's the story from the Gospel of Luke, chapter 10. It says, a legal expert, an expert in Jewish religious law, a legal expert stood up to test Jesus. Jesus, a teacher, he said, "What must I do to gain eternal life?" Jesus replied, "What's written in the law? How do you interpret it?" He responded, "You must love the Lord your God with all your heart, with all your being, with all your strength, and with all your mind, and love your neighbor as yourself." Jesus said to him, "You have answered correctly. Do this and you will live." But the legal expert, wanting to prove that he was right, said to Jesus, "And just who is my neighbor?" Jesus replied, "A man went down from Jerusalem to Jericho, and along the way he encountered thieves who stripped him naked, beat him, and left him near death." Now, this road that they're on was pretty notorious. It ran through the desert areas, and it was riddled with all kinds of caves, so thieves and robbers could easily hide out in there. Verse 31. Now, it just so happened that a priest was also going down the same road. When he saw the injured man, he crossed over to the other side of the road and went on his way, probably so that he wouldn't get too close and potentially become unclean. Likewise, a Levite came to that spot, saw the injured man, and also crossed to the other side of the road and went on his way. A Levite was not the priest in the temple, He was more like a staff person or an LC person. Levites filled just about any other role on an as-needed basis in the temple. They would do things like leading the singing, leading even construction projects, guarding the temple, teaching classes, and even occasionally sitting in the judgment seat if the priest wasn't available. Verse 33, a Samaritan who was on a journey came to where the man was. Now, I like to interject a few little things here, but the Samaritans were hated by the Jews. Kind of like if you think in Bosnia, the Serbs and the Muslims, the Catholics and Christians in Northern Ireland, Los Angeles and New York gangs. This hatred, though, was both political and religious. A Samaritan who was on a journey came to where the man was, but when he saw him, he was moved with compassion. Now, that word that we get compassion out of in this particular text is really strong. It's a gut level kind of compassion. It actually means to feel deep in the bowels. So a Samaritan went to him and he bandaged his wounds, tending them with oil and wine. Then he placed the wounded man on his own donkey, took him to an inn, and took care of him. The next day he took 2 full days' wages and gave them to the innkeeper. And he said, take care of him, and when I return, I will pay you back for any additional costs. Turning to the question, exactly who is my neighbor, Jesus asked, what do you think? Which of these 3 was a neighbor to the man who encountered the thieves? And the legal expert said, the one who demonstrated mercy toward him. And Jesus told him, go and do likewise. Now that's a great message for all of us, right? Go and do likewise. Demonstrate mercy. If you want to be a good neighbor, then be merciful to all those in need around you. So there are several things in this story that really interest me, and I hope they're interesting to you today. Yes, I hate that Josh is sick, but I'm trying to sit up good and straight today so I can at least get in the Josh range, but I'm never going to be there. So the first thing that's really interesting to me about this is the different demographic groups that are here in this story. The first group is it's obvious, the thieves and the robbers. Classic bad guys, right? They're the outcasts from every other group. Maybe that's why they're thieves and robbers. Or maybe they're thieves and robbers because they're outcasts. I do think that it's important to note that Jesus would certainly have us understand that we are to be merciful and compassionate to this slice of humanity, in just the same way that we are to be merciful and compassionate to every other segment of humanity. They aren't somehow beneath receiving mercy and compassion just because they are the catalysts of bad things in this story. Remember, Jesus, dying on the cross, showed mercy and compassion to one of these thieves and robbers who was dying right next to him. The second group in this story are the Jewish law-abiding folks. Now, they're the assumed good guys, right? We would assume. Now, this slice of humanity includes almost everyone else in the story. The priest, the Levite, the man in the ditch, the innkeeper. All these folks are good Jewish rule-keeping folks. Some of them are also rule makers and rule enforcers. They're the ones who live by and follow the law, mostly out of fear. Their fear is that if they break one of the laws, they will temporarily become ritually unclean, which Josh talked about last week. It makes them an outcast, at least for a period of time until they can go complete the ritual purifications. To live as an outcast is to be removed from acceptable Jewish society for a time. So the priest, if he had come in contact with the bleeding and dying man, could well have become ritually impure. And he would have most certainly had to have gone through some period of ritual cleansing. Now, it's not clear at all which direction on the road he was traveling, but if he was on his way to Jerusalem, then it's certainly possible that he was going to the temple in order to fulfill some kind of temple duties. This was a common practice back in those days for all the different priests in the surrounding area to share the duties in the temple. Come in and do your thing and then go, and then the next guy gets to come in and do his thing. This was a common practice then. So if he were to involve himself in this situation, then he would not have been able to have accomplished that particular mission. I'm guessing that this scenario had to be part of his thought process as he chose to go to the other side of the road and just walk on by. Remember the man in the video, the sharp-dressed guy, the businessman on a tight timeline? Super busy, but doing good things, right? Caring for his wife. It would have certainly messed up all kinds of things if he had stopped. He's not a bad guy, right? The Levite was probably in much the same situation as the priest. But while the priest might have gotten somewhat of a pass because of his position, the Levite had no such privilege. The Levite is busy doing good things, important things. Remember the lady in the video who was rushing to get to the food bank so she could provide food for hungry people. If she stops, people go hungry. What would Jesus do? Right? She's not a bad person. I find it really interesting when I think about Jesus and all the different examples of Jesus in the Gospels. I find it interesting. There are several times where Jesus allows himself to be interrupted. While he's on his way to do something important, he allows himself to be interrupted by the person that's standing right in front of him that is in need. I don't think this is an accident. I don't think that it's a sudden moment of Jesus forgetting the greater priority. I think that it's an example of how God operates and how God encourages us to walk around and to operate in this world. So the Levite has tons of important things and good things, stuff to go get done when he gets to his destination, probably things to get ready for the priest. So he's not a bad guy for keeping his priorities, right? Now we turn to the guy in the ditch. Of course, he was almost certainly Jewish. Traveling between Jerusalem and Jericho down this particular road was a trip that typically only the Jewish folks would be taking. We get no indication for the reason for his trip, but much like the guy in the video, we see him as a person living his life, keeping the rules, and working hard. The last one of these Jewish rule followers is the innkeeper. We know that the innkeeper must have been Jewish because an inn along that road couldn't have been used by any of the Jewish rule-following folks unless it were run by a Jewish rule-following person. Now, finally, we come to the last of our three different groups, three different demographics of people. The last one is the Samaritan. As we said before, the Samaritans are a hated group of folks in the eyes of the people that Luke is writing to in this. The good, rule-following Jewish folks look at Samaritans as being half-bloods, an intermarried adulteration of all that it is to be Jewish. They're looked at as an abomination in the eyes of their God, or at least so they think. Jews and Samaritans at this time deeply hate one another. In that time and place, Jews and Samaritans acted much like some of our modern-day social, political, religious groups toward those who think differently. Today, we see similar kinds of hatred and intolerance between groups like conservatives and liberals, between white supremacists and people of color, between conservative evangelicals and members of the LGBT community. And just like today, the hatred in this story is broadly societal, political, and religious. This story is also really interesting when you realize that the Samaritan people are not at all going to be cool with this compassionate, good Samaritan stopping to give care to this rule-following Jewish guy who lay dying in the ditch. The exclusion and the hatred which the Samaritans had experienced at the hands of the Jews had formed deep, visceral patterns in them, and so a similar kind of hatred and exclusion developed in return toward the Jews. The fact that this Jewish traveler was going to die there in the ditch if no one helped him would have been seen by the broader Samaritan community as ridding the world of one more dirty Jew. This good Samaritan will most certainly face serious negative repercussions in his own community for this act of kindness and mercy and compassion toward their enemy. He should have just passed by on the other side, right? Let the guy die. So what's the point? What can you and I take from this and put to use in our very real lives? Surely it's more than just, go and be a decent human, be merciful and compassionate, right? Well, yes and no. Go and be a decent human that works to encourage human flourishing in every way possible. That's always one of the main points of just about every gospel story. And just like Jesus said at the end of our text today in answering the religious lawyer's questions, who was a neighbor to the man? The one who demonstrated mercy. And then Jesus' reply was, go and do likewise. It's really not a lot more difficult than that. But I do think that there's at least one more important lesson for us today in this story. I think it's important for us to recognize that each one of us are in many different groups ourselves. And we must recognize that the many different human groups that we are in, either by the default of our DNA, by the nature of our location where we were born, or even those groups that we would intentionally put ourselves into, each of them have beautiful expressions for this life and some not so beautiful expressions for this life. These groups all come with certain perspective biases, built-in bias that can express themselves in both positive and negative ways. They can show up for or against someone else, or for or against other groups of humans. For example, I can put myself in a bunch of groups: progressive, Christian, liberal, LGBT advocate and ally, former evangelical, former conservative, former Republican, former pastor, and the list could just go on and on and on. But there are also groups which I am by nature part of that also work to form my experience. These are things which in many cases I have to intentionally work to either enhance or to overcome. These groups are things like being a cisgender white male, being an American, being a Southerner, being a Nashvilleian, being a Titans fan, and so on. I don't really want to work too hard to get over that. We all have these kinds of things. For the priest, the Levite, the man in the ditch, the Samaritan, and even the innkeeper, they all had these same kinds of life experiences, DNA defaults, life choices and cultural expectations, many of which were placed on them, and they had to make choices about them. And in many ways, we can all see ourselves sitting in the space of each of them at different moments in our life. So my hope and my prayer for you today is that the idea to be more intentional about recognizing the perspectives of your own places, your own groups, your own inherent biases, and your own life choices. And in that recognition, that you would choose to live in such a way as to be the very best representation of a good neighbor to all those around you. And I'd even tag on and say, especially to those who are different than you. And as Josh always says, are you with me? Let me pray for you. God, today as we leave this place in a few moments, may we go in the knowledge of our own unquestioned belovedness. May each of us know that there is nothing we can do, no group to which we may or may not belong, no color of our skin or place from which we come that could exclude us from your unflinching, all-encompassing love. So as we go out of this space today, may each of us work to be intentional in recognizing the inherent bias of our own places and groups. And in that recognition, may we work to be the very best representation as we follow Jesus' instruction to recognize what it is to be a good neighbor. May we go into this week knowing that we are seen, we are loved, we are accepted, and we are affirmed. May we know in our bones that we belong, we matter, and that we don't have to do anything or change anything for this to be true. It simply is true. This I pray for you on your behalf. Amen.
Jesus, when you gonna wake up? When you gonna wake up and calm this raging sea? Jesus, when you gonna wake up? When you gonna wake up? How could you sleep when we're in need? We could wait for you and hope that you come help, or we could get up and move and do some work ourselves. Jesus, when you gonna wake up? Oh, when you gonna wake up and calm this raging sea? Jesus, when you gonna wake up? When you gonna wake up? Could you sleep when we're in need? Oh, we could wait on you and hope that you will help, or we could get up and move, do some work ourselves. Yeah, we could wait on you and hope that you will help, or we could get up and move and do some work ourselves. Oh, Jesus, when you gonna wake up? Oh, when you gonna wake up and calm this raging sea? Jesus, when you gonna wake up? Oh, when you gonna wake up? Could you sleep when we're in need? So I'll rise up. So I'll rise up. So I'll rise up. So I'll rise up. Do you want to stand and sing that? So I'll rise up. So I'll rise up. So I'll rise up. So I'll rise up. Yeah, beautiful. And can we thank Murphy for bringing such a great word? Thank you, Murphy. And thank y'all so much for being with us this week at Grace Point. We hope you have a lovely, beautiful first week of March. Here we are into 2024. And we'll see you back next week. We love you.